We have a little bit of a traffic problem, and despite my best efforts in between this episode and the last one, there's not really a whole lot I can do to fix it. In fact, I think I've made it worse, because I've added a second post-sorting facility, and these guys have 20 trucks each that are either going to be going to post offices throughout the city, or that are going to be exporting things to other cities. Now, I didn't add this second office because of the aesthetics in the area, although I did make it look quite nice if I do say so myself. I added this because we had a lot of mail coming and going. We actually have a lot of mail that needs to head out of here. The sorted mail stat, the 176,200 out of 500,000, that's the stuff that's getting moved out to post offices and to other cities. And it's much the same here. The 201,300, that's going out of here. The 75,000 is what's coming into this spot. And that's why most of the traffic along this road is made up of post trucks, and most of the traffic coming in off the highway is postal trucks as well, because it's trying to go to wherever it needs to go. Now, I say that there's not a lot I can do to fix this. There's plenty I can do to fix this. I could get rid of the post sorting facilities, but I would rather move them, because this area is going to have a lot of traffic anyway. Obviously, in the last episode, we built this entire thing. It is our ore industry plus our factories. And eventually it's going to have some industrial zoning in here as well. But there's no point in doing that if traffic is already terrible, because it's only going to get worse. And so there's a couple of things we can do. Number one, we could delete these, but I want to keep them, so I'm going to move them. And you might remember at the end of the last episode, I talked about heading all the way over here and building an airport. So what if we took the postal sorting facilities and put them near the airports? Because if we go into the transportation tab, and if we go into the airport area tab, or sub-tab, whatever you want to call it, and then filter by air cargo, if we can get an airport area to level 3, we can get a cargo airport terminal. And admittedly, I don't think we're going to have enough space for 2 separate terminals, so this might be an extension of an existing terminal or something like that. But my thinking is that we could have a lot of cargo traffic coming out here, which might pull it away from this road. It might bring it sort of this way, down along the beach and out past the farms. So that's what I want to do. And so first things first, I need to tidy up the space a little bit. All of these rocks need to go away. And the good news is that if we go in here and we get ourselves the airport area painter brush thing, brush is the word I'm looking for. I don't know, painter, the airport area painter. Oh man, my grasp of the English language is fantastic. Coming up on 11 years on this YouTube channel, 11 years this month in just a couple of weeks, and I still can't string a sentence together. Anyway, the good thing with this brush is that it actually flattens the terrain, and I'm pretty sure it gets rid of all the trees as well. So I'm just going to paint a pretty chunky space in here. Yes, it's going to make the terrain kind of ugly. Yes, we're brushing up right against the edge of the map that we have to play with. But we're going to go ahead and smooth this out a little bit later on. I just want to have as much space as I can possibly get to play with here. And it does cost a fair chunk of change to do this. But again, it's going to give me a really nice amount of space to build apparently Sheffield International Airport. I somehow don't think so. It's not going to be Sheffield International Airport. It's going to be Vanillaville International Airport is what it's going to be. And honestly, I think that's enough space. Like I said, we can smooth a bunch of this out. I think can I hit this with a smoothing brush? Is that a thing I can do at the edge of the map? I actually don't. Yeah, it is. Okay. We can make that work and look a little bit less terrible later on. Apparently I've missed a tree. How did I do that? There we go. We've also got all these, oh man, we've got all these logs I need to get rid of as well. Okay. This is going to take a second, but let's get rid of all of these as well. All right, so this is a good looking space. I've gotten rid of all the rocks that were here. I've gotten rid of all the trees that were here. We have something roaming around. Is that? It's a bison. All right. We're gonna name you. We're gonna name you Brian. Is what we're gonna do. Brian the bison, and hopefully Brian's gonna be all right once we build an air. I don't know why. I don't know what's just possessed me. Didn't I once name a seagull a swear word? I think that was on a live stream. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but I'm pretty sure I named it a certain C word that I think, oh, you know, it's probably for the best that was on a live stream. Anyway, I do want to get an airport in here. So let's stop filtering by this. Let's filter by the classic style, because I think this is going to be pretty appropriate for this area. And what I think I'm going to try and do is leave this space down here for services and helicopter depots and things like that, because we can do helicopter tours around the city, and then I think that'll be kind of cool. So what I want to do is run parallel to this road for a second, because I want there to be a little bit of a gap here. I might even go so far as going that far back. And I think that's where I want to put my terminal. So the terminal is going to live... Oh, wait, no, the terminal has to be on the end of the road, apparently, or not on the road at all, interestingly. Okay, can I attach this guy to that guy? Apparently not. Why can I not? Oh, I can do that one. I don't really want to do the two-story one, though. I kind of want this guy. I want the, what if I downgrade that to a dirt road? Is that going to behave? Apparently it does. And apparently we have just unlocked everything for the airport, which is lovely. So the real question is, can I then go ahead and change this road out to be just a regular road? Absolutely. I will say, I don't love that this is a two-way thing. I'm almost certain that the two-story one actually only has, it's got one-way roads, right? Yeah. I really don't want to do a two-story thing here, but I think just for the sake of traffic control and just having sort of a one-way setup, that's probably what we're going to do. So we're going to have to figure that out, because I'm really not too sure how or why we would even bother having sort of two stories here, but apparently that's what we're doing. So let me get my one-way road filter going. Let me grab you and do this. And let me, is that going to be 10 units right there? It's $400. It absolutely is 10 units. So we'll do 10 units out to here as well. And then the elevated sections, I guess we can extend those as well. I think this will look good. If I can figure out a reason to have it be two stories, I think it'll look great. I just don't have a reason for this thing to be two stories right now. There's absolutely zero need for it. So yeah, we'll figure that out, I guess. But for now, let's just extend the terminal a little bit. It doesn't need to be huge. This isn't really supposed to be a giant airport. So we'll go about 20 units that way. We'll go about 20 units that way. And if I wanted to, I can put things at the classic control towers on here as well, which I don't hate the idea of doing. I really don't. But I think for now, we'll hold off on doing that because we need aircraft stands. And I also want to get things like, let's see, what else have we got to play with here? I want to get some hangars in here as well, and we do have some parked aircraft too. So for now, let's try and get an aircraft stand as central on this thing as I can possibly get it. That looks relatively central, so right about there. And I'm going to line these guys up. Instead of lining them up as close as possible, I'm going to try and be very specific, because I can get them like this and get them right next to each other. But I'm going to try and line it up so that the markings on the ground line up with the concrete of the stand next to it. So something right about, we'll need it to line up nicely right about there. We'll do the same thing for this guy. I don't like that they keep sort of jumping back and forth. That's kind of annoying, but I'll live with it, I suppose. So I think right about there is pretty good. Are they in line? They are. And we could do maybe 2 more on each side. So that's going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stands. That might be a little bit much. Maybe we just do 1 more on each side. And then I think what we can do for a runway is basically run it right down here. So it's going to run along the cliff top, which is maybe a little bit much. It probably doesn't need to run like this, but I like this idea. I admittedly do like the idea of it just running parallel to everything else. That would conserve some space, and it would give me a little bit more room to play with back here. It wouldn't let me smooth this out too nicely, though, which I don't think would be ideal. This can also be relatively small. I do want it to be a nice long runway, though. I think that's going to be good. And for the life of me, can't decide if I want it to be here or if I want it to be along here. I think along here is more interesting. So I think that's what I'm going to go for, is the more interesting option of having the runway sort of along the cliff top. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to smooth all this out to make it safe, because that's, yeah, that's a look right now is what that is. Now, in terms of getting aircraft on and off the runway, we've got our little entry point here. We've got our little exit point here. And then I need to bring this sort of up at an angle and connect it over like this. So essentially, I can just do that. And then this is going to refund 180. That's 247 or whatever it was. We can sort of just get away with this, I think. I don't know if I like that. I almost prefer having the sharper angles. For some reason, that just seems more airport-ish to me. So I think we might actually not bother with with little curves like this one. I think we'll do some sharp angles, and I just think it looks more interesting. So we'll do maybe 5 units here, which is what that is. We'll do 5 units here, and then somehow I need to connect it over here, which is going to be interesting. Can I run this straight across? I absolutely cannot. That's unfortunate. It would have been good if I could. I could get this to sort of loop around. It might look neat, but apparently that's not an option. So let's see. We'll turn our guidelines back on. We'll go and do this. We'll bring this guy sort of up to here. Maybe a 45 degree is the option for this. We'll sort of angle it over. So we're sticking with the angles. We're just not quite as sharp on them as we otherwise could be. Okay, I know I said simple, but I got a little carried away because I started thinking about all the space I could use here for things like hangars and things like, you know, little parked aircraft and stuff like that. So what I want to do is have a hangar over here, and I want a hangar right here, and I was hoping I could get one there, but unfortunately I can't. But I think I might. Yeah, I can totally get a little parked aircraft in there, and I just think that looks cool. I like having these guys here. And what's more is I don't know when this was added, but now you've got these guys. You've got airport aprons. And what these do, this is ploppable asphalt. So I can go in here and I can fill up all of this space. So this is all going to be paved. So it just looks like an airport. I'm going to have to put some fences around this. I'm going to have to detail this to make it look a little bit more, you know, proper. But that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I really, really do. I also kind of like the idea of putting some parked aircraft out here. I wish I had the space to put them in there. Unfortunately, I don't. I've also not got the space to put them in any of this area. So I think I am just going to do... Actually, you know what? I think I might leave this open because I'm realizing that if I play my cards right, I could build my little cargo terminal here, have it be parallel with the runway, and then hopefully connect things together and just use the same set of taxiways. So we'll keep this relatively simple for now. All I've got to do is, again, figure out how and why I'm connecting up the double roads here. Or, actually, no, I am going to go with the double roads because otherwise I have to use a two-way road at the front of the airport, and that looks silly.
2 hours later.
Okay, I gave up. We're going to use this thing. I've been sat here. I am defeated. I have been trying to figure this out for longer than I care to admit. We're just going to use this. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. I'm not pleased at the fact we're using a two-way road in front of an airport. I do think it looks silly, but it's what we're doing because I am defeated. I've been beaten by this airport today, and I'm just not looking at it any longer. So what I am going to do is I'm going to build myself a little roundabout here because I do think having some options, given that I'm hoping to put some extra traffic out here, I think having some options for traffic to sort of get around here will be useful. And I suppose the one benefit to a two-way road is I really only need one connection to the roundabout, even if it's, of course it would. It doesn't line up properly. It doesn't need to. Admittedly, it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to line up properly, but it would be nice if it did. Either way, we'll take those parts out. We'll go ahead and just line this all up the way we'd want it to be, which is going to be right about on that guideline, I think. Yep, that one right there. And that's going to be our way into the airport. So what I think we'll do is immediately go ahead and swap this out. We'll do a 3-lane roundabout. I'm going to turn zoning off on this as well. And I think this is probably about the point where we can step down from the highway road into sort of a more regular road. And I think what we'll also do is use, let's see here, the road with the wider sidewalks. So this one right about here, even though this bit has space for parking, which I really hope Sims don't use it. I really, really hope they don't try and park there. It's going to look terrible if they do. Although in saying that, should I have zoning here? Because if I had zoning here, I could do some taxi depots or taxi stands right in front of this. And that might actually look kind of cool. Although they're not going to line up properly. It might be kind of a cool place to have these things. It's about the only thing I can put in this space anyway. So what's that? 4, 5 right there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. I don't hate that. I absolutely don't hate that. So I'm kind of willing to do it. And I'm actually thinking that it might make more sense to have the 2-lane road with median here to sort of force traffic around a very specific direction rather than allowing it to sort of U-turn. I mean, it can still sort of U-turn coming out of here. It can, you know, come out and turn this way, but we'll we'll see how it behaves. And then I think what we'll also do is get another roundabout just down here. And this is going to be a way for traffic to sort of loop around, do its thing, go where it needs to go. And it also gives me an option to connect up all of this space down here. It gives me options to connect out to a cargo terminal at some point as well. So I think this will be good. And then all we need to do is swap this guy out for a one-way road as well. So that's going to be another 3-lane one-way road, even though it probably doesn't need 3 lanes. So we're going to give it the 3 lanes and that'll be just fine. And that's essentially the way people are going to get to and from the airport. Now, I will say I want to put some stuff in here. I'm thinking parking lots. I'm thinking we could probably do some malls out here. I don't want to go too crazy on shopping because it is next to a farm and I don't want to bring tourists out here. I want them to go to and from the airport for travel and that's about it. But I'm kind of okay with this. And I suppose what we can also do is look at building a little service space here. And this is where we can go ahead and put the post sorting facilities. So we'll come down this way. I'm actually going to use an industrial road for this just to sort of signify that it's more of a service space. It's not necessarily somewhere that passengers should be going to. So we'll do something like this. We'll get ourselves a nice little 45-degree road right there. And we'll do exactly the same thing down here so we can kind of follow around the edge of that terrain. And I think that'll look pretty good. And we'll just sort of continue it down to about there. And that should be fine. It looks like I might need to just reconnect some of this to get the zoning to look proper, which it now does. And I'm sort of okay with that. I don't mind that at all. I think what we'll do is go maybe 20 here. We'll go 30 here. We'll bring this straight down. That gives us a nice little box to play with. We could cut straight through here as well, which I'm not really against doing. I'm not really suspecting there's going to be too much traffic. So maybe we will just do that as our little service space. And then what I can do is go into industry. I can go over to post service. I can go and get myself the post sorting facility. And I think we can get 2 of them right about there. Now that's going to be a nightmare for traffic. It absolutely is going to be a nightmare for traffic, but I'm willing to sort of have those guys be right there. I think what I'm also willing to do is play around with this just a little bit because I think I do want some roads with medians as much as I want the industrial roads here. I think roads with medians in some places will allow me to have a little bit more control over my traffic because I want one here so that I can do a little bit of garbage disposal out here. So if we go and get this guy, we can get a recycling center and I think that's going to be good. It means that we'll have a supply of garbage trucks for the farms, which is probably for the best. And it also provides for the airport as well, technically. And I suppose in terms of supplying for the airport or providing for the airport, we could also do a fire department out here. I think that guy right about there is, well, maybe we want to do that the other way around. Hold on. Let me move you to here. Let's move the fire department to be sort of front and center and then put this guy back here. I think that's a little better looking. I kind of like that. We'll go for the nice large fire engines here. And then do we want some death care? Do we want some policing? I feel like we probably do want some policing. And I think we can get away with this, this little guy right here, the police security center. It fits really nicely in that spot. And that's going to be using just the regular patrol cars. Although I think we have policing out here. Yeah, I used the historical police station here because there was a lot of crime at the farm. But I think this is fine. I think this is a good use of space. It gives us some services. It gives us the post sorting as well. And that's basically just going to have industrial traffic going through this entire space, which is totally fine. In terms of other things we can put out here, I think I might go for a little taxi depot. I think a few of these guys could be kind of nice to have out here. So let's do a little road right here. I think that'll be a good place for it. And then we'll just do a taxi depot, I guess here and here. We'll do 2 of them so that we have a lot of taxis available for the airport. And I think these guys are going to be, I'm going to say these are going to be the yellow taxi cabs rather than the black taxi cabs, because I think the yellow cabs are going to look more interesting outside of the airport. There's just something about it that I really enjoy. And there we go. I am actually kind of pleased with how this has turned out. We've got a couple of cryo preservatories for some death care. We've got plenty of taxis going out. I did get a sightseeing bus depot and I did get a biofuel depot. I'm mostly using those for the aesthetics though. I just like the idea of having some garages out here, but I like this space. I'm hoping that this means that I can head over to my ore industry and basically get rid of these guys. Now that is going to destroy all the stuff that was inside of those. So all of those, you know, the processed mail and whatnot is now gone, but it should mean that all of this traffic is going to be a little bit more smooth sailing. Although admittedly, It has filtered through a little bit. It's just backing up here now, so we'll see what happens. At the very least, it should mean that all of my mail comes out this way. So the farms are going to have to deal with excess traffic versus the city having to deal with it. I also really like the idea of trying to get some more helipads in here, and we do have the room for it. I could do something right here. It is going to interrupt and kind of mess with the farm a little bit, but we could do something like that if we wanted more medical helicopters. I just don't really know how things look in terms of helicopter coverage. So if we look here, we have a medical helicopter depot, which has 4 helicopters. We have a fire helicopter depot with 3 helicopters. And then over this way, we have the police helicopter depot, which has 3 helicopters. Medical has 4, and we didn't do another fire one. So police and fire could both use, I suppose, more helicopters. So if we take a little bit of a look, we do have a higher capacity fire helicopter depot. We just don't necessarily have the space for it unless I sort of make some changes to this little corner here, which I'm kind of willing to do. Yes, it means that this diagonal is going to be a little bit closer to the farm, but I like this guy and I want it to be right there. So I think that's kind of what we're going to do. And then all I need to do is go and bring my little road down here a little bit further. So let's try and figure out if I can do this in a way that's going to look good. I'm not 100% sure that I can, but we'll find out. So 150 there, 150 there. So if I just do this kind of thing, that should still give me, and it does still give me the diagonal. And I do want the diagonal there. I want that rather than a curve. I think it just looks better. Although it's starting to slope down a little bit more than I want. So let me just take out this road completely for a second. I'm going to flatten that terrain, and then we're going to start smoothing things out just to make it look a little bit more appropriate. So we'll bring this right back to here. We'll bring this guy down and sort of line it up with the corner, which is totally fine. We want to go about $150 there, bring it around. That gives us our angle. That should all be nice and level, which it absolutely is. And then all I need to do is hit all of this with a bit of a smoothing brush, and it should look, I mean, it's going to have this sort of this rock texture here. I don't hate that being there. I just want it to be a little bit less noticeable. So it's very clear that some landscaping's been done here. It's just, you know, they've also made an effort to make it look a little bit better at the same time. So just hitting like so, I don't mind that at all. So that gives us some more fire helicopters. That gives us up to 10 of them for the entire city, which is absolutely lovely. And then I've got this little space down here, and I don't really know what to do with it because I don't really have much to do with it. We have an intelligence agency, which is never going to fit there. We could do more policing, which we don't need. We're not going to do anything for banks because we don't need those. I mean, we have, oh, we've got a prison. I don't think I've built a prison in City Skylines in years. I might need to do something about that. Can I get a little warehouse here? No. Can I get anything into this space? Oh, we do have this. It's the local register office. It's a local register office for state administrative matters. Now, it doesn't look like it'll fit, but there's a little bit of wiggling I can do here that actually does make it fit in here. So if I just put it right about there, I don't mind that at all. I mean, it's a little bit imposing, but it does look like an administrative office, which is what it is. And so I think that's perfectly fine to have there. And then what we'll do next to it is just a couple of little trees to sort of, you know, get a little bit of landscaping going here. We might even go and grab one of these default trees to try and blend this all together a little bit. And then right at the front, we'll do some bushes, kind of like this, the way we always do. A little bit of pink in there as well, just to get some color. And I'll just sneak a couple of young lindens in there as well. Just, you know, completely overgrown, but it looks the part. And I like this a lot. This seems like a really good use of space. It's perfectly, you know, it's perfectly filled. It's got everything for services. And really all I want to see at this point is how is the city handling the traffic? So right about here is fine. It seems like everything's filtering through. This space is still quite chaotic, which I don't love. I don't love that this is still as busy as ever, but this space is all moving quite nicely. So that's not too bad. So I guess at this point, we probably want to get the airport to be a little bit more functional, huh? So let's see if we can't maybe go in here and do a little something. So if I was to go to this spot, I want to go maybe, let's say 5 units that way, 5 units that way. We'll go, I'm going to say 15 here. I'm not going to say 20. We'll say 15 in that direction. And we'll say 15 in this direction as well. We'll connect these guys over in the middle, which does line up kind of nicely. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I do want to put some bus stops here, but I don't want them to be... Can I get this to be an angle instead? Would that look better? So is that about 100? That is about 100. If I did that, I don't mind that actually. I don't mind that at all. Is that about 100 there? So yeah, we'll do this instead. Yes. I mean, it's not perfect, but it does the job. And I want to use some one-way roads here as well, because I do think that's going to look better as well. So we'll go ahead and flip these guys around. So that's going to be some one-way roads kind of coming in here. And this is where I want to put some bus stops. So if I go and grab, let's see, into buses, we have this thing. Now it's huge, but I think it kind of looks the part at an airport. I think it probably should be kind of chunky at an airport. So that's what we're going to go for. And then I could if I wanted to actually do an intercity bus terminal out here as well. I don't think that would look terrible, although it's a little, it's not really going to fit. I guess we could do these guys too, the intercity bus stations, maybe 2 of them. Is that going to be too much? It kind of looks, yeah, it's a little much. Let's get rid of those guys. Maybe we just do 2 of these. Maybe 2 of these guys will be the way to go. So I put one right about, say, well, not there. Right about there, and another giant bus station, I guess right about there. Is that in the middle? I don't think it is. I don't think I can get it in the middle, which is a little disappointing. But you know what? We'll just do 1. And then what I want to try and do with the airport buses is have these be express lines. So the bus is going to run from here into, say, there, and then right back to the airport. Now, I don't love how this is sort of looping around like that. I actually really, really dislike how it's looping around like that. Oh man, that is hideous. That is actually hideous. I really don't enjoy that. And I don't know that there's any way I can do anything about it because the entrance is on this side. So that one-way road would have to run in the opposite direction for me to do this, which I guess technically it can. I guess we can flip it around and encourage the buses to sort of come in this way. I don't know if that's actually what they're going to do. It doesn't look, nope, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to come in here. They're going to loop around. This is going to be terrible. I really, you know what this game needs? It needs waypoints like Transport Fever 2. So I can place a waypoint and tell the bus to go that way. Oh, I don't know that I like this. I don't know that I like this. I don't want the buses to go right in front there. I might have to, I guess I could put it on this road and do some pedestrian paths back and forth. Is it going to be better? Would it be better if I used the smaller compact bus station? I don't know that it would be. Let's have a little look at measurements here. That is 260. That is 240. It absolutely is not better. Okay. Well, that's, again, hurts me in my soul. What I think I'm going to do instead then is I'm just going to stack a few of these guys next to each other. And then in the middle, we'll just do like a plaza. We'll do something like that. And that's how we're going to do the buses. We'll use multiple of these little bus stations here. And that'll be totally fine because I do want a lot of lines coming out here. So line number 1 there is going to be an express to this spot. And I think all of these guys are going to use the double-decker airport bus because it's a pretty cool looking bus. So we'll go ahead and just mark all of these to be using that. And I guess we can let the game run while I do this so that the buses actually start coming out of the depot sooner than later rather than in one big wave. And I'm also going to keep these guys as the default blue just because I might as well. I'll probably have to bring the number of vehicles per line down considerably. But at the very least, this is, do these guys have variations? Can I not change their variations? That's unfortunate. Well, I guess we got some color in here, which is fair enough. Man, is it going to be here that the bus is coming out of? It isn't because I don't have a regular bus depot over here. Oh, oh, that might be a problem. That might very well be a problem actually. Do I want to get a little bus depot here? I think I kind of do. I think a little bus depot right about there might be a really good idea. And I think what I'm also going to do is make it be, I think it's going to be a one-way road is what I'm going to do. Is there a one-way industrial road? There absolutely is. So we'll bring it out here. We'll bring it around. We'll bring it over there. And then I'm just going to flip this guy so it lives right about there. And so this thing, yeah, it'll start spawning the airport buses, which is totally fine. The bottom ones are turning, or were turning in a way I didn't want them to, but at the very least, this will supply the airport with its buses, and that's what we're looking for. I'm really not expecting those lines to be all that popular, but it's gonna look cool is what it's gonna do, and that's kind of all I need it to do. And so now I just want to get some parking in here, and the way I'm thinking of doing it is just slapping a couple of parking lots right about there. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to have them that close to the airport, but I think that's what I'm gonna do because that will sort of attract some tourists to the space, which admittedly I know I said I didn't want to do, but it's what we're gonna do. And then at the bottom here, I'm wondering if I can get some multi-story parking lots, and I can if I take away some of the farm, which I don't know that I want to do. I don't know that I'm prepared to take away chunks of the farm. I could get multi-story stuff in here, which might look kind of neat if I did this. I don't mind that, although I would kind of prefer if they were sort of down here, which also, in fairness, I think I can get away with doing. I think if I was to go and grab myself this road right here, I can bring it straight. No, I can't bring it straight off of there. I can bring a road straight off of here, which is going to look terrible. So maybe we just don't overdo it for now. Maybe we just get rid of these guys and get the airport functional with a little bit of power coming up this way. We'll just do another wind turbine right there. Should bridge the gap, and it absolutely does. And so now that this thing's functional, we are hopefully going to start seeing some people. We're hopefully going to start seeing some people go through here. We're hopefully going to start seeing some planes. Although we do need to run some pipes out to these hangars. So we'll run some pipes just underneath the taxiways, and we'll see if I can't maybe get these things to be kind of neat looking. So we'll bring this straight back to here, bring this over to here, sort of up this way and across. And we do have our first plane coming in, which is very exciting. And these guys do have water. Okay. So now everything is doing what I want it to do. I'm just really hoping we don't have people come out of here and immediately turn this way. I want them to filter around. I also want to look at these bus lines and see how many vehicles are actually on them. So immediately going to the bottom. Yeah, that's going to be excessive. 43, 40, 38, 40, 45, 34. I want to say we can have way less than that. I want to say we can maybe have like 5 per line. And so now we should see a lot of these buses just head back to the depot, which is going to take a little while because there are a lot of postal trucks trying to get out of here as well. This is why we can't have too many buses. This is also why I wanted to move these postal trucks to this side of the city, because all of this in amongst all of that industrial traffic would have been a nightmare. And at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a nightmare for this for this little road setup here as well. So it's not like I've made it any better. I'm just hoping that once the buses clear out, everything's going to be okay. I'm also kind of hoping I can do a little bit of detailing in here to make this place look a little bit less terrible, because right now it's not great. It's definitely not great. So we'll do some of my generic pine trees that I love oh so much just in behind these bus depots. And what I think I'll do is line them up with... Actually, I was going to line them up with the lampposts there, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm just going to space them out the way I always do. And looking at it, we actually have a lot of people coming over here from the airport looking to get on those buses. So the buses are actually going to be working, which is kind of wild. That's kind of making me think that I might need more than 5 per line, but we'll see. Anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees in between all of this. So we want to do 1, 2, 3 about there, and 1, 2, 3. I want a bigger one than that. 3 about there. And that looks all right. How many people are in here? There's actually some decent crowds. That's a little bit worrying. All right, we genuinely might end up needing more than 5 buses per line, but I suppose we'll just pay attention to it and see what happens. The good news is we actually have a lot of planes coming and going. I really wasn't expecting that, but it's definitely kind of cool. And there are so many people coming around here. Can I do traffic lights there? Is that a thing I can switch on for those little junctions? It absolutely is, and that is 100% what I'm going to do. So people have to wait for the lights to cross the road. That makes sense to me. And would you look at this? The airport has leveled up. We have the classic large terminal. We have the concourse hub. We have all of this cool stuff in here. We've got medium parked planes, medium aircraft stands as well. I don't think we're going to be using any of those, but we have got the luxury hotels as well. And I'm kind of wondering what it would look like if we were to do some kind of hotel in here. So this is ultra modern buildings. This is decoration buildings. So this is our luxury hotel. I don't hate the idea of having that in there. We also have this guy, which is an airline lounge. I almost feel like we could try and get, if I extended the terminal a little bit, I could do a couple of lounges. We have the fuel station, which will increase the attractiveness for your airport by placing these stations. Okay. Can I get one in here? I absolutely can't. Well, fair enough. Medium parked planes would be cool. It would be nice if I could get this somewhere. I suppose I could put it here, but then again, the idea was that I was going to put my my cargo terminal out here, so I don't know about that. What about that right there? Does that look okay? I suppose it kind of does. It'd be nice if I had a bit more space for it. It really would. Let me check something. If I have a look at my, so this loops around that way. I guess I could get rid of that middle section right there if I wanted to, and I could put my the fuel thing in there. But I think I'll leave it be for now. I do want to have this, but we'll leave it for now until we get the cargo terminal in here. And just how much bigger are these medium stands? They are, yeah, they're definitely bigger. I'd have to build an entire new terminal to start playing around with those, so we're not going to be doing that. Although I will go ahead and extend this terminal just a little bit, so 5 units that way, and I want to say 5 units that way, because I want to go ahead and get the little airline lounges on here. I think they'd be kind of cool. So we'll try and line the roof of this up with the edge of the terminal itself, so right about there for that one. And this one is going to go right about, let's see if I can get it to line up, right about there. And that'll just increase the attractiveness a little bit. It means people can, you know, sit and look out at the planes, which I think is pretty cool. And I think I'm also gonna do, I'm gonna do some hotels. We have room for this luxury one right down here. So it's going to live there. And then we can do this one, which is the budget airport hotel. I want to say we could do the budget airport hotel right here, which is a bit of a weird spot for it, but I don't mind that. Can I get another one over here? No. Would it look better if I had symmetrical hotels? It might. It definitely might. Would it look better if this hotel was down on that road? I've got no idea, but I'm kind of liking the idea of having these hotels here anyway. It might attract people. It might make the airport a little bit better. I really don't know. What I will say is I think I could probably get away with 2 of the budget hotels. So let's see if I can do that. I think it goes, how many tiles back? It goes 5 back. All right. So if I was to put a road here, so a little road right there, can I do 2 of these guys? I can do them at the end of the road, which I'm absolutely willing to do. So we'll do 2 of them right there. They don't actually line up all that well unless I sort of stagger them, which I'm fine with doing. So now they're facing each other, which I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad, but it's what I'm going to do. And I'm also thinking I'm going to try and use some of the airport aprons to, let's see, are they going to be a miscellaneous? They are. Can I use them in here? Space already occupied. Ooh, I don't think I can. I can use them in here, but I can't have them overlap buildings. I can have them overlap parks, which I'm actually going to do. I'm going to fill in these spaces here with a little bit of concrete. So just in there and just in there. And this middle space as well, we're going to fill that in with some concrete. I can't fill in these spots, which is really disappointing. But I suppose what I can do is get some paths that sort of go around a whole bunch of this stuff. So we'll go, let's see, from here, kind of around and back like this. We can maybe have a little path that comes across here as well. I don't love this little cutaway, but I'm kind of willing to do that. And then what I'll do is just a little bit of landscaping in here. And I am just going to go with the generic pine trees again, because they just look so good following roads. They're kind of a fantastic, just well-rounded tree, basically. We'll do something a little bit like that. And we'll do a couple of them just across here as well. And it does tie things together. You know, we have pine trees down there as well. So that I think looks pretty solid. This space here, I think we can probably do exactly the same thing. So a few generic pine trees that come down this way. We'll have them sort of follow the roundabout as well. Maybe space them out a little differently there. And then in the open spaces, we can go and get the giant, the oak tree that I absolutely adore. We'll maybe do 2 of those. In fact, let's just see if I can get one big one. So that's not all that big. That's a pretty big one right there. We'll go for that one. And I like that. A little bit of color in here, maybe, just to spice things up a little bit. So we'll get a little bit of these shrubs in the corners like I really like doing. A little bit of the pink bushes in there as well, the rhododendrons, of course. And then just a sprinkling of young lindens to make it look like some younger trees are in there. And I think that looks pretty solid for the budget hotels. Now we just need to deal with this one. And what I'm hoping for this guy is that I can get some paths that look like they connect to the back of it. And it looks like that's absolutely something I can do. So we're going to bring a path right up to there. We're going to bring a path right sort of, ooh, it's not going to let me go right around it. So can I get something that's going to go close enough? I think that's pretty solid right there. That's going to connect to that guy, which is fine. It's not going to connect perfectly, which is really unfortunate because I was hoping it would, but I'm sort of okay with that. I think what I'll do is just bring this path back here, line it up like so. And that, at the very least, gives us something that looks like it connects to this guy. And that's kind of all I needed it to do. I could push this straight through so it looks like a connection straight to the back of the hotel as well. And I think I will do that. And then on this side, we'll do a little something something as well. So again, it just looks like there's space to walk around the hotel, which is what I'm looking for. And it actually does have those oak trees as well. So I can really, really easily make this thing look like it belongs in all of this terrain. And really all it took was a couple of these little shrubbery looking things. Shrubbery, that's the word I'm looking for. Shrubbery. And these little bushes as well. Now, in saying that, I do still want to come in here with these generic pine trees. I do still want to sort of line this road in them. I think that's something that maybe the airport does rather than the hotels doing that. So it's kind of like the airport's like, hey, we're going to outline your land in these pine trees so it's clear what's ours and what's yours. I don't know how this stuff works. I have no idea. I just know that I really like these pine trees and I will find any excuse to put them anywhere that I can. So a few of them there. We'll get them coming along here as well. And I just think it helps the area feel a little bit more, I don't know, defined. I think defined is the word I'm looking for. I also like the idea of getting a little bit of color right there just to break all that up. And I think that looks kind of fantastic. I really do. I'm really, really pleased with how this has turned out. I'm a little concerned at the amount of postal traffic coming through here. And I'm a little concerned about what, oh my, wow. I wasn't expecting a tailback here. That's why? Why is traffic tailing back here of all places? Is it just because there's so much trying to get on the roundabout? Have I got stop signs or something here that's causing some problems? I don't. I guess it's just, you know what? Let's just take out the roundabout for now. And we'll not worry about this either. I think we'll just let traffic kind of move the way it needs to move. So we'll just do this. So that'll let the traffic keep on keeping on, which has me really worried about the rest of the place now. Is traffic okay over here? It actually is. Is traffic okay over here? It is about as bad as it's ever been. So not really. Now, you know what I've just realized? I talked about doing more stuff with helicopters, and there are helicopter depots in the game, which are these guys right here. And what you do with these is you can create lines for helicopters to follow and take people around your city. And I really like that idea. I figure we have a heliport here. We might as well do this one here. And I might even move this. It is going to take over. Well, it's not going to take over part of the farm, but it is going to take over a little bit of land here. I'm kind of okay with that. I think I'm going to put it right there. Yes, it has this ugly terrain at the back of it. I'm not too concerned about that because I think we could probably smooth that out and make it look a little bit better with a nice little smoothing brush. And it looks like I'm going to get away with this. So if I just use slope terrain to do something like this, that kind of nicely hides our crimes. We'll do sort of the same thing here. And again, that nicely hides our crimes. And the same thing here, hitting it with a very gentle smoothing brush. I think that's about as good as it's going to be. I do think that's about as good as it's going to be. Now, I do want to surround this space in fences at some point, but what I really want to do is I want to get some helicopter stops. I want some helicopters moving around my city. I don't know why. I was looking at all the airport stuff. I saw these. I thought it sounded awesome. So let's have some helicopters going around here. I've got no idea. How big are these stops? They're like 5 units back. Okay. Oh man, where am I going to put these? Can I get one in here? Is that, ooh, it absolutely is. It is going to get rid of a path that's back there, which I really don't know that I want to do. I don't want to get rid of all those buildings either. We've got this corner. This might be a really cool spot for some helicopter stops. Let's take out these 4 buildings. Let's see if I can put this guy in here, which I absolutely can. So we'll do there for a helicopter stop. And that's sort of okay. I think I might move it down one so the terrain's clipping a little bit less with the heliport or the helipad. And then next to it, I'm going to do some taxi stands just to fill up the space. And then back there, we can do, I guess, a parking lot also to fill up the space. And it looks a little bit weird, but I'm kind of okay with that. So that's going to be 1. And I just want like 2 or 3. I don't need a whole bunch. I just want 2 or 3 for people to get around. So 1 down here is fine. Can I do 1 by City Hall? Would that be a little bit too extra for the city? I feel like it might be, but I kind of love the idea. I really do love the idea of having just a heliport or like a helipad right by City Hall. That seems really cool. I might have to redo some of this layout to make it happen, but well, I say that I could just put it off to the side, but ideally I would have it at the back of City Hall. Is that going to be too much? I think it's a bit extra, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. We're putting a helipad behind City Hall. That's what we're doing. I have to get rid of all of my landscaping, all of these bushes that I put in here. These fences need to go as well. And then what I need is it's a road that comes back here. We're going to do a road with some trees on it because I think that's going to look pretty good. So something a bit like that is is perfectly fine. And then the helipad is going to live right about there. All of these trees need to go away as well. This looks ridiculous, but you know what? I am absolutely here for it. It's amazing. All right, let me take out the rest of my landscaping too so that I can put these fences back in here. And there we go. We've got ourselves a helipad right behind City Hall. It looks ridiculous and I'm absolutely here for it. So what I'm going to do is just start making the helicopter pathway. We're just going to go with the 2 stops for the time being because I really don't think we need more than that. And what we'll do is just try and have these guys run pretty much as straight as possible over the city for the time being. So we'll just run this straight up here. It's going to run directly over our little central park there. And in just like that, it almost lines up, which is what's great about it. And then for this one, this can basically just run straight to there. So it's going to run at a bit of a diagonal across the valley. This one can hopefully just run straight to there. It absolutely can't, but I can just do that instead. So it runs, you know, directly down there. And I think what I'll do is just put a little connection between them, something like that. So if they wanted to run kind of around in a loop or something like that, that's what they can do. And then helicopters are going to go from here, I guess, up to there. I don't think they're going to loop around. I think it's just going to be a back and forth, which is totally fine. And I want to know, actually, do helicopters have... Hold on, if I look at you and I sort by aircraft? Yeah, wait, we can... No, we can't change out the helicopter. That's unfortunate. That's fine, though. I have no idea how many people are going to want to use this, but that's... that's really cool, man. We've got a helipad behind City Hall. And you know, I've got to say, they're pretty good looking helicopters too. And there are people coming out to use it, which is what's even wilder about this whole thing. People actually are going to use helicopters to get up and down the city. I like that a lot. And they've got a pretty good view all over the Central Park. They've got a view over the zoo as well, so they can watch the birdhouse burn down again for a 3rd time whenever that inevitably happens. We could also get a helipad in there, although we have one right here. There are so many people actually wanting to use this thing. Oh my God. I was not expecting like 14 people to be on board that helicopter. Wow. That's actually really cool. So just before we move towards wrapping things up for today, what I'd like to do is come in here and get a bit of a plaza. So we're going to use this one right here, which is just the park plaza. And that looks to be roughly central right there. Just a little bit of decoration, I think, is going to be good for the front of the airport. I would like to get another one back here as well. I'm not too sure how well I can get these to line up, but I think that's about as good as it's going to be. And that looks fine. I don't really mind that. It's just a little something to fill those spaces, and that's kind of all I'm looking for. We could try and do similar in these spaces as well, but I'm not really too concerned about that. Most of this should be flat, and obviously this space in here needs something as well. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to come in here and see if I can't maybe make this look a little bit more natural. So I'm going to just start moving some sections of cliff out like this, just to make it look a little bit more jagged. And then I'll hit it with a smoothing brush at some point so it, looks a little bit less man-made. But just for now, I want to kind of go and, get at this a little bit rough and see if I can't just make something that looks a little bit more natural. I mean, it's not going to look natural, but if I can get something close to looking natural, then I'll take it. And so with that in mind, I think we can probably go ahead and leave it there for today. I'm actually really pleased with how the airport's turned out. I know I said that already, and I know it's nothing fancy, but it fills in this space perfectly, and it's familiar to me, to be quite honest with you. Because whenever I'm going to an airport, if I'm going to anywhere in the world, the journey is kind of like this. It's not, down a mountain pass and along rivers and stuff like that, and then up another valley and all that, but it's past farms, it's on little national countryside roads that eventually take you to an airport. And even though it doesn't look anything like this, it's just a little bit familiar. And so I like building stuff like this. It's cool, it's neat, it's different. And I'm also wondering why all of the postal vehicles are using the road that the buses should be using. That's really weird. I'm actually quite confused about that one. But that's something we can figure out in the next episode, because for today, well, that's gonna do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.